Hello, Blazers. Welcome to episode 163 of UAB Green and Told, originally released on Monday, November 17th, 2025. This podcast is where we share the stories of the UAB community. Find all previous episodes at alumni.uab.edu/greenandtold on Spotify or the Apple Podcast app. Leave a written review to help more alums tune in. I'm Greg Berry, a UAB alum and Director of Communications in the Office of Alumni Affairs. Today's guest grew up in the quiet stretch of Marion Junction, Alabama, where football ruled the yard and basketball slowly stole his heart. On the court, Cedric Dixon earned every inch of respect, even if those inches didn't stack up like the others. And as he'll share, stepping onto a college court was a whole new game.
I didn't really realize how short I was until I got to UAB. And I'm seeing these big guys, 6'7", 6'8". I mean, they're skilled, they're stronger than me.
As a first-gen college student, the idea of higher ed felt distant. But as we'll find out, one coach's belief planted a seed that grew into a future.
I had no idea about how I was going to get to college. I didn't know how I was going to do college. But my high school coach had planted that seed in my head that I was going to college.
Once he arrived, homesickness hit hard, and the advice was mixed. One voice said, stay strong. Another said, come home.
And he would say, Cedric, you will be okay. Just tough it out. You're going to be fine. And you need to stay there. But my mom on the other end, mom is saying, come home.
As the next youngest of 7 siblings growing up in tiny Marion Junction, Cedric Dixon admits he was babied a bit, but he never lacked drive. Football was his first love, and the backyard was his proving ground. But his athletic journey took a turn in the 9th grade when a coach saw something special on the basketball court. That moment sparked a shift that would eventually lead him to UAB.
I was on the B team, and I think I had played pretty well against Bibb County. I think I scored like 31 as a freshman, 31 points. And the next day, which was that Saturday, he gave me a call and said that he was moving me up to the varsity. At that point, things just kind of took off for me. I think after my freshman year, he just sat me down and told me that, hey, you might need to focus on basketball. He just didn't think I would. Football wasn't my sport. So I took his advice, and I think I made a pretty good decision.
It's an interesting decision too, because here you are, you're an undersized dude. I mean, you're 5'9" was your playing height. So were you kind of surprised that he came to you and said that? Yeah, you were lighting up the scoreboard, but you were shorter than a lot of your opponents and teammates.
Yes. And you know what? I didn't realize that while I was playing high school basketball when I was growing up. I didn't really realize how short I was until I got to UAB. And I'm seeing these big guys, 6'7", 6'8". I mean, they're skilled, they're stronger than me, they're just better than me. I really didn't realize how short I was until I got to UAB. And I was like, man, I'm small.
You grew up in the day when MJ, Michael Jordan, was kind of in his prime. He was winning championships. What players did you kind of mold your game after? Was it MJ? Was it somebody else like Magic?
Me, growing up, it was Stephon Marbury and also Allen Iverson. I like Allen Iverson a lot. He was popular coming up during our time. And we were like the same age. I think we came out in the same class, but he was definitely a guy that I tried to, model my game after. And then some of the older guys that I looked at, I liked, of course, everybody liked Magic Johnson. John Stockton was good. I liked the way he kind of could run a team and get everybody involved. But those are just some of the guys that I tried to, model my game after and look after.
At what point during your high school process did coaches from colleges start looking at you?
I was scoring well. I was leading the state in scoring. We were winning. But with me being undersized at 5'9", and then I was playing 3A basketball at Dallas County High School, people kind of questioned the competition that I was playing against and also just my size. I probably weighed 150 pounds back then. So I went to a couple of camps in the summertime. I went to one in Ohio, and I think I went to a couple of camps in Georgia. But I still didn't get much attention. I think at the beginning, I want to say the beginning of my senior year, I started to get a couple of letters from different people like University of West Virginia, Colorado, and believe it or not, UAB. They would talk to me, but they really didn't recruit me until like I think maybe after my senior year. But I was in talks with them. I attended their camps all the time, so I kind of knew the coaching staff. I knew Coach Murray. I knew Coach Joe Evans. Joe Evans is actually from Selma, and he kind of knows my family. But like I said, I really wasn't recruited a lot coming out of high school. Maybe the middle of my senior year, University of West Virginia, they kind of got involved, and I actually committed to them.
So what changed with West Virginia? Because ultimately you wound up on the court at UAB.
It was very interesting because they were in the Big East at that time.
Yeah.
And I was sold on, hey, I'm going to the Big East. I'm going to play on TV. And that's who I committed to early. I was committed to them all the way until the end of my senior year. UAB got involved.
Yeah.
Gene Bartow, head coach Gene Bartow, kind of got into the recruiting process as well. And he came down with assistant coach Joe Evans, and they came to my mom's home where we were. That kind of just impressed me that the head coach from UAB, Gene Bartow, is here recruiting me. So I was like, man. And my high school coach, Coach Shelton, because he was a father figure to me, believe it or not, I pretty much did what he said at that time. And he said that, I know you committed to West Virginia, but you haven't signed with them. UAB is interested. I think you need to talk to them. So when they came down, and I decided that, hey, I'm going to stay in the state and I'm going to sign with UAB.
What did Gene say that changed your mind?
He just said he made no promises. Of course, he just said that, we're sorry that we were late on you. We got a late start on you, but we have been keeping up with you. And and at the time, I wanted to stay home. I didn't want to go away. I really wanted to stay in the state. And just by him just visiting and just saying that, hey, we're interested in you and we're here to offer you a scholarship. And when he said that, that's all I needed to hear. I knew I was going to UAB at that point.
You mentioned that you didn't get a lot of recruiting letters until the start of your senior year, midway through your senior year, but yet you knew you had D1 talent.
I just think my coach, my high school coach, Coach Alan Shelton, he always just encouraged me and gave me confidence and just said that, you're gonna play college basketball at the highest level. And just going back thinking about the conversations that Coach and I had, Coach Alan Shelton and I, when I was in ninth grade, he's the one that planted the seed in my head that you're going to go to college. Like he told me, he was like, you're going to go to college. And you got to understand, like my mom didn't go to college. My dad didn't go to college. No one in my immediate family had gone to college, but my sister, she finished a community college. So my high school coach, he actually planted that seed in my head in the ninth grade. And I'm just walking around school, walking around my neighborhood, telling everybody, hey, I'm going to college. I had no idea about how I was going to get to college. I didn't know how I was going to do college. But my high school coach had planted that seed in my head that I was going to college. So just the conversation that I had with him, being around him, and him just telling me that you're going to go to college and that you can play at that level. And I think that's what really helped me.
When you first got onto campus and you started looking around, what were your impressions of UAB?
I was lost. I was like, what have I gotten myself into? I don't belong here. I want to go back home. That's what I wanted to do. And the first class I had, it was a sociology class. And the class was in the HUC. And they had this big auditorium in there. My first class that morning was 8 o'clock that morning. I walk into the auditorium, and it's about 200 students in this auditorium for this class. I look in the classroom, And I walk out because I'm like, I'm not going in there. Like, I can't, I'm not supposed to be here. And I was just really just shocked. I had no idea. I was just, I don't belong here.
And this was the days where we didn't have cell phones, so you couldn't call back to mom and dad. You couldn't call your sisters, your other siblings, just on a whim.
Mhm.
What were those conversations like when you finally got on the phone and were talking to your family? And I'm sure they were encouraging, look, Cedric, you need to stay.
Yes. Coach Shelton, I'm gonna go back to Coach Shelton. I would call him and he would say, Cedric, you will be okay. Just tough it out. You're gonna be fine. And you need to stay there. But my mom on the other end, mom is saying, come home. She's like, come home. If you don't like it there, come home and you'll be okay. And I think that's what mothers do. You know, that they want their children or their child to feel comfortable and to feel good. So if you call mom and say, hey mom, I just don't feel like I fit in here, or that I belong here, and I really want to come back home. And she opened the door and told me to come back home. But he was like, if you come back here, what are you going to do? You have a great opportunity for yourself and for your family. You need to stay there and you just need to tough it out.
At what point during your time in the classroom did you finally feel that you hit your stride and that you belonged in those seats?
I think maybe I hit my stride maybe around the middle of my sophomore year academically. I met a lot of friends, like just my peers and other students around campus who I connected with, and they would help me, and we would study, and I would meet them at the library, and we would they gave me a lot of confidence that way too, just interacting with my peers and people who genuinely kind of cared about me and they wanted me to succeed too. And I think they kind of knew that, hey, said from Selma, and he's kind of behind. We're gonna have to put our arms around him and kind of get him up to speed a little bit. So, and I appreciate those friendships that I had. And also, it was a program. It was a tutoring program, and it was for kids who were, just academically they just weren't where they supposed to be. And it was led by a lady by the name of Miss Betty Duff. She was very helpful to a lot of the athletes, not just the athletes. I think to a lot of first generational students who attended UAB. Her program actually helped me as well. At some point, I knew I couldn't go back home because even though my mom was telling me to come back home, I still couldn't disappoint them. Like I had to stay and fight it through. I think that's when I kind of hit my stride academically, and I think athletically as well. Because like my freshman year, I played a little. I didn't play much. I think we had a couple injuries, and then I was able to. Basically, Coach Bartle threw me in the fire at that point. They just threw me out, so I had to play.
And you wound up playing. I mean, throughout your time at UAB, I mean, the first year, even though you didn't see as much playing time, you still averaged 6 points. And then after that, it was double digits. Do you have a game that was a defining moment for you in your first couple of years where you said, yep, I belong because of this?
I want to say maybe at home against Tulane. I want to say, and I think I hit a shot with about maybe 3 or 4 seconds on the game clock, and we ended up winning the game. And I think that's kind of where I was like, okay, maybe I belong now. Maybe I'll be okay now, I think.
Today you're in teaching, but
Yes, sir.
your major initially was history. Were you majoring in basketball at that point? That was your goal, or did you have something that you wanted to do with that history degree?
At the time, to be honest with you, I felt like history was for me because I like to read, I like to write.
Sure.
So I went the history route. And I wanted to major in education when I first got there, but I got into some of the classes and I was like, oh well, I think I'm gonna change this major. And basketball at the Division I level, it's any sport, not just basketball. Just being a student athlete at the Division I level, it is very demanding.
Yeah.
I just felt like history was the route for me to go at that particular time.
Did you have NBA aspirations? And I ask that because, there's guys like Spud Webb, Muggsy Bogues, who
Yeah.
made a living in the
Mhm.
NBA, and I compare it with your height. So was that kind of the hope and dream?
It was because I had a pretty good high school career, especially my senior year.
Yeah.
And when I got to UAB, like I said, the first 2 years, it was a struggle for me. I just had to get used to being on that level, playing against that type of competition. By the time I hit my junior year and my senior year, I thought about a professional career. I was like, well, maybe I can play if not the NBA, I could play overseas somewhere and make a living. I felt like I could make a living playing a game of basketball. I did briefly. I
Yeah.
went to Europe for a minute. I didn't stay. I didn't like it there. And I got on the plane and I came back home. And that was basically it for me as far as basketball goes. But I got the opportunity. I didn't make the best of my opportunity. And I came back home and I kind of just went to work at that point.
And at some point during that, because you didn't have basketball, you weren't on the court,
Yeah.
struggles started to come. As you mentioned in the book, after the ball stops bouncing, you battled alcohol, you battled depression. At what point did those settle in and you started facing those challenges?
I just think when you just go over, like when you going through the same things over and over, and you're not seeing any progress in your life, so you have to just look yourself in the mirror, and you have to be like, hey, I got to change, and I don't want my life to end this way. I don't want my life to be this way. And also, my son was born in 2004 as well. So when he was born, I was like, I got to get myself together. I have to do what's best for me and for him so that I can provide a good life for my son. So I think when my son came, I kind of changed things and just tried to do better at that point. But just going through the hard times that I did have and the disappointments of just disappointing my mom, my family, disappointing myself. And I just decided that, hey, I just got to do better. And you have to, sometimes it's hard to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm the problem and I got to address these problems and issues that I have. And no matter what happened in my life prior to that, okay, maybe you wanted to go and make millions of dollars and make money playing the game of basketball, but that didn't happen. So now what you have to do is you got to move on. You have to what I call in my book, you have to reinvent yourself. That's what I think I've done in my life. I think I've kind of reinvented myself. Everybody still ties me into the game of basketball, but I'm definitely an educator now. I still love the game of basketball. I still watch it. Going back to what I said, I just had to look myself in the mirror and just say, hey, I got to do better.
Was there a low point that you can point
Mm.
to that really turned you around?
My brother Fred it was very supportive of me here in Birmingham, and he still lives here in Birmingham. I think when I used to have to, I guess, sleep on his couch, and I think that was kind of the point where I was like, I got to get myself together at this point. And even though my brother was good and he opened his door to me, it was still that feeling in me to where I got to get myself together.
At what point did the book kind of come into play and you said to yourself, you know what, it would be a good idea to put my life on paper so other people can learn and reinvent themselves?
I had been thinking about it for like the past maybe 3, 4 years. I just wasn't ready to put it out there because I didn't want people to judge me. I was afraid of people judging me and people being judgmental and saying, oh, man, he's a bad guy. You know that thing. So that's why I was just hesitant to put it out. But I think maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I say, you know what? I'm going to just write it down, just put it on paper. I'm gonna just put it out there. And when you get older, I notice this too. Like when you get older, because I'm 49 right now. So when you get older, you really don't care about what people think of you at that point, man. I'm like, so what? I mean, that stuff happened in my past. I'm no longer doing that. I feel like I'm leading a productive life. I'm making progress in my life. So, hey, why not share? And maybe it can help some kids or help an adult who's going through those things. So that's why I put it out.
The topic is one that is an incredible one to talk about. It's one that might even get overlooked a lot of times. You have these athletes, whether it's on the basketball court, football field, softball field, whatever it is, that really immerse themselves in
Mhm.
those sports. It's a part of their lives. So when you're not competing, when you're not part of it anymore, it does bring up challenges because you have to reinvent yourself as soon as you're done playing.
Oh yes, you do. Most definitely. Like I said, that's all we did. My friends and I, when we were younger, like in fifth grade all the way through 12th grade, all we did was play sports after school every day. We played sports in school. And then once we got out of school at 3 o'clock, we would go home, change your shoes, and we would meet up on a basketball court or we would meet up on a field
Yeah.
and play tackle football. And I'm surprised nobody got a concussion, got hurt back then. But we did play football back then, tackle. So that's something that was a part of my life every day, just about. Then I get to middle school, I play basketball in middle school. Going to high school, I played football. So all I did was play sports. I was around sports my whole life, from the age of 9, 10 years old, all the way up to my college years, 23, 24. When you used to playing something and it kind of becomes you and it becomes a part of your everyday life, that's all you know. You sleep it, you eat it, you drink it, and it becomes just a part of your life. And then at that point, when you can no longer play it, or it's no longer there, no more opportunities to play it again, a lot of former athletes struggle in that area. They struggle mightily. Some turn to just negative behavior. It could be alcohol, drugs, just just bad things. So I think that hopefully my book, people can look at the challenges and the adversity and all these things that I faced, and I didn't give up. I continued to meet the challenge, and I would get knocked down and I would be discouraged and I didn't want to do those things. I wanted to stop, and I could have easily stopped and used every excuse in the book. Hopefully, by me sharing all of my experiences and things that I've been through, hopefully it can inspire some people to keep going.
You graduate in 98 with a Bachelor's of Arts,
It's
'05 Master of Arts in Education,
yeah.
13 another Master's, in 15 in Educational Leadership, and then 18, you're laughing, but another Master's in 18. I bring it up because that's a part of reinventing yourself,
Yes,
isn't
sir.
it?
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna tell you, I think some of my friends that I grew up with in school, they be like, "You went back to school?" They was like, "School wasn't. You ain't even like school." And I just think they find it so funny when they find realize that I went back to school all those times. But I always had desire to learn. I always like to read. And like I said, I'm not trying to make an excuse, but growing up in my home, I grew up in a good home. My mom was good, great. But my mom stopped school in like 10th grade. She didn't graduate. So therefore, she didn't stress education. Only thing she would say, hey, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna graduate high school and get you a good job or go to the military. I think once I got to college and I got around people who were in the education and they value education, I just think I just started to take it on. And also during that time, I went back to school because I didn't have anything else to do a lot of times at that time besides work. And now looking back on, I did go back to school a lot. I didn't know I went back to school that many times.
That's Cedric Dixon, a proud UAB alumnus with a stack of degrees as nearly as tall as he is. BA in History from the College of Arts and Sciences in 1988, and that's just a start. Pile on 3 Masters of Arts in Education, the first in Health Education in 2005, second in Educational Leadership in 2013, and the third in Special Education in 2018. And then add on an Educational Specialist degree in Leadership in 2015. And Cedric's crossed the graduation stage 5 times, the final 4 from the School of Education and Human Sciences. He now serves as assistant principal at Bryant Park Elementary in Jefferson County. And through every challenge, Cedric has proven to know what it means to be a Blazer.
Just to be a Blazer, just to be loyal. I mean, I think that you have to be loyal, and you just have to keep working at it, and just networking with people, just having the discipline to stay the course and just be focused. But I think the main thing of being a Blazer is just being a hard worker, because it goes back to Coach Gene Bartow. When he came here to this program, he started the program from scratch. Just being blue collar, just being a blue collar, hard worker, just not giving up. Sometimes you're going to go through those tough times and people are going to question certain things about you, but just stay in the course and just being a hard worker and just having a good work ethic and being loyal. Because I think it goes back to Coach Gene Bartow, the father of UAB athletics. That's what he did. I mean, he left UCLA, and came to UAB and started the program. And I think that's what UAB is all about.
That wraps up this episode of UAB Green and Told. And don't forget, you can listen to past episodes anytime at alumni.uab.edu/greenandtold on Spotify or the Apple Podcast app. Got a guest suggestion or want to join us for an episode? Drop us an email at greenandtold@uab.edu. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for the latest. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Blazers. Thanks for tuning in to UAB Green and Told. You can catch up on all of our episodes at alumni.uab.edu/greenandtold on Spotify or the Apple Podcast app. Got an idea? 3, 2, 1. Got an idea for a guest? We'd love to hear it. Email us at greenandtold@uab.edu and stay connected by following us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Blazers.